Welcome back to a brand new episode of NH Unscripted, where these boots are made for walking. I am your Nancy Sinatra-like host, Ray Dudley, and we are coming to you from the Taj Mahal-like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. Yeah, I'm the dude wearing the Nehru jacket. Got my medallion on this day. Yeah. You know the routine. Kick back on those waterbeds. Make sure the heater's on. That comes from personal experience. Yep. Get your lava lamps going. Fire up the incense, because we are coming in hot. We're coming to you 1450 AM, 103.9 FM on your Sony Walkmans, 101.9 FM for the beautiful souls in Manchester. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. I'll tell you a little bit more about what's going on out there in just a little while. I need to thank my sponsor. We are so grateful for the law offices of Shaheen and Gordon for sponsoring this show. Oh, my God. You know, their tagline is, because everyone should know a good lawyer. That, my friend, is probably the understatement of a lifetime. We are such a litigious society. My goodness. They are everywhere, and they do everything, and I mean that sincerely. They do personal injury law, employment discrimination, which is probably a hot topic lately. Yeah, estate planning, workman's comp. They're all around the state. Concord, Dover, Manchester, Nashua, Peterborough, Keene. Yeah, and they even got a place in Hawaii. Yeah, that's got to be a haul. Anyway, we appreciate them so much. Their phone number out there, 603-614-5560. Yes, get a pencil, put it on your fridge. I'm going to say it again, 603-614-5560. 560. ShaheenGordon.com is their URL. Hey, you got a question? Maybe you got a trust. Maybe you hit the lottery and you need some expertise. Don't forget me. Yeah. ShaheenGordon.com is their URL. Okay. We have some interesting talk today. In the house is Todd Hunter. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And Aaron Bencks. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
You gentlemen seem to have a show that's opening here. Well, by the time this is aired, probably it's going to be tonight, but by the time this show airs, it'll probably be a couple of days into it. The name of the show is The Shark is Broken. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Tell us all about it, Todd.
The Shark is Broken is a play that premiered in 2019 in the West End of London, co-written by Robert Shaw's son, Ian Shaw. That depicts the behind-the-scenes drama between Roy Scheider, Robert Shaw, and Richard Dreyfuss on board the Orca while they were filming the last couple months of Jaws. So we get an insight into their interpersonal relationships, the drama that was going on with the production, and also the time in history that it was exactly 50 years ago this year.
Yeah. I assume this is why they kind of released it, right? So that a lot of folks can hype up the anniversary of the film.
This has been a big year for Jaws.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as The Shark is... I mean, I've been following The Shark is Broken since it was first premiered.
You did?
Years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, I really wanted... I hadn't directed in about 7 years, stage directing, until now. I had stepped away from it, but I had really followed this play because I really wanted to do it, but I figured, and I wouldn't talk about it with anybody because I figured if I mentioned it to somebody else would grab it.
Of course they would.
But yeah, it's funny how everything lined up because the play came out around 2019 and it's had a Broadway run. Ian Shaw himself played his father in the West End performance, which you can actually see, and he played it in Broadway, which you can see on streaming now. But by the time I fully read the script, which was January of earlier this year, I realized it was going to be the 50th anniversary of Jaws, and I said to myself, I'm like, is anyone going to do this? And it turned out that they did. North Shore Music Theater did it this past summer, did a phenomenal show, and they brought it to Martha's Vineyard. But then this was
great idea.
Yeah, this was a phenomenal idea. But we had the opportunity to do it this fall on the Seacoast, so we took advantage of it.
You know, it's so iconic. It has such a classic place in the history of film, and so many of us. I won't look at you two, but some old folks are, there are images in that movie which we cannot shake. And there are so many one-liners that have come out of that movie. Just thinking about it almost gives me shivers. The opening scene, my God, is that crazy. I saw that in the movie theater, and I freaked out. That was just insane. I want to get into some of the details here about your production in particular. Aaron, who are you playing?
I'm playing Richard Dreyfuss.
You are, huh? So let's talk a little bit about these characters. And Aaron, do you, as an actor, playing somebody who is iconic, I mean, Sheriff Brody is iconic. For all else who know the movie, you couldn't get more classic than those three characters, right? Do you feel any pressure when you were here I go. I told you, wrap this. When you knew you were going to be playing him, were you at all feeling pressure to look, sound, act like him, or do you say, you know what, it's not going to make any difference, I'm just going to bring my own approach to this?
I mean, I think from right off the bat, even going into the audition, I wanted to, try to emulate him a little bit. But throughout the entire process, I mean, Todd has been really great with all of us in terms of instilling a sense of wanting to emulate the characters, but being comfortable within not going over the top and trying to, think too much about copycatting every mannerism or thing that they do, and more just trying to really capture the essence of these people, these real life people. And so trying more to focus on that than the really individual specifics. And I think it helps that I have, at least some visual characteristics that are similar to Richard Dreyfuss. So I have that going for me, I guess.
Yeah, this is kind of a meta thing, right? So you're playing a character who's playing a character.
Right.
Did you have any discussions at all as a group about what the audience is going to, I mean, Shah especially, right? His accent and all of that. Were you concerned that it could be a stumbling block, or that, it's not going to meet people's expectations at all?
Every step of this, I've been directing theater and been involved with theater for 30 years, and even with my time off. And I knew when I approached this that this was going to be a one step at a time process. We're going to see how far we can get and just not minimize the worry and that sort of thing. So we held auditions. My producer and I, Sean Robinson at New Hampshire Theater Project, we held auditions, sent out a cattle call, and we had really great actors come through. I wasn't sure who was going to show up or if any of them would be right for the part, because a big element of how I try to do shows is that I don't necessarily know what I'm looking for, but I know what I'm not looking for.
Oh, very interesting.
So, I try to kind of lean on that so I can be surprised. And the funny thing about Aaron is that when he came in, he was like the third one on the sign-up audition list, and he walked in and I had the sides with me to hand out to run the scenes. And I didn't even look up, and when he came up to me, I said, "So which one are you auditioning for?" And he, just dry as a bone, just said, "I thought I'd go with Richard Dreyfuss." And I looked up and I saw this.
Yeah.
And I went, "Yep, that's right." And I think I kept him on stage reading him off of other people the entire time. Yeah. Because I was just so drawn to, he looks enough like Dreyfuss, but he's also himself.
Yeah.
And that was a good mix that I was looking for. But with the entire cast, Richard, Dan, Jeff, and Aaron playing these three characters, it really was just who showed up to audition, and I felt so grateful as to how much they emulated these characters, even in the audition. Mm-hmm. And that to the point that there were other people in my life, other film fans in my life, who would reach out to me and go, "How did you find somebody that looked that much like Roy Scheider?" Or "How did you find somebody that looks that much like Jeff Ripley?" Which is interesting because, again, just like Aaron, they do look like them in passing, but they're very much themselves. Mm-hmm. But then you put the costume on and the makeup and all of that. and it's really like goosebump inducing. There was a picture of Robert Shaw of him.
You go ahead, you can finish real quick.
Of leaning the other time, and I compared him to the actual Robert Shaw, and he looked incredible.
Oh my God! All right, told you it's going to be a good one. I knew it. You are listening to NH Unscripted. I know you're feeling lucky you got out of bed today. We are coming to you from the YMCA-like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM on your transistor radios, 101.9 FM for the beautiful souls in Manchester. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. We are talking about The Shark is Broken. Ooh, baby, do I have questions. We will be right back. Welcome back to NH Unscripted. Yeah, baby, we're your midnight train to Georgia. I am your Gladys Knight-like host, Ray Dudley, coming to you from the not-so-overly ostentatious digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM on your transistor radios. Yeah, the poor kids got the 8 transistors. We got the 16. Anyway, NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. We are talking about The Shark is Broken. Production taking place out in
Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Thank you, sir. When?
It's opening tonight, October 17th, and running through November 2nd, 9 performances.
Thank you. And how would people get tickets?
Go to the New Hampshire Theater Project website. I believe it's, off the top of my head, nhtheater.org. You can purchase your tickets there for each night.
Excellent. Well done. How are pre-sales?
Very good. My producer actually told me it's the highest pre-sale since he started there that he's seen for the show. So, yeah, we'll
like
see
to
how
hear
it
those
goes.
numbers. Yeah. How many people does it seat?
I believe 42. It's small.
Oh, that's intimate.
Yeah, you're going to be very close.
Oh,
to
the audience is going to be on the Orca.
Yeah, they are.
That is brilliant. Oh, I love those kind of theaters. I really do. Aaron, why did you want to do Richard Dreyfuss? There's 3 characters. Right? There are more than 3 that actually come. It's just 3. Okay. So you go to auditions. You have this in your head. You want to portray Richard Dreyfuss. What attracted you to that role?
Yeah. Well, so I actually found out about the audition fairly last minute. I think it was maybe a day or 2 before it. I just saw an email about the auditions, and I was like, "Oh, this sounds like a lot of fun." At that point, I had never read the play. I didn't even know about The Shark is Broken. So, yeah. And so I was just like, well, this sounds like it could be a really good time. And it's the 50th anniversary of Jaws this year. So, it seemed really appropriate. And yeah, I was looking for something to, I was looking for a show to do. I hadn't done anything in about a year. So I was kind of getting that itch a little bit. And, when I saw there were 3 characters in it, that immediately told me, this is going to be a pretty intimate setting. Yeah. And we're going to have a lot of time to really just dive into these characters, which is what I love to do. That's my favorite, my favorite piece of acting. So, yeah. And so then it was like, I got to go. I got to see what happens, Yeah.
So you're at home, trying to drink a lot, saying, well, maybe I could play Shaw. So you just keep drinking and no, I'm not. I just can't go that far. I can't. Or you can't do the accent. I mean, why did you not choose, why did you, Dreyfuss of all people, he's quirky. He's young back then. I mean, we were all young back then. Well, not you. You weren't probably even around. But some of us were young back then. Why?
Yeah, I mean, well, and so, obviously the ages line up a little bit more, I think, there. So I thought naturally that part of it made sense. And then as I'm preparing for the audition, I'm just looking at photos of Richard Dreyfuss around that time period, and I'm like, oh, I can show up to the audition basically looking exactly like this. I was like, I have these I have the same wireframe glasses. Yeah. He's wearing a sweatshirt that I'm like, I have a sweatshirt that looks like that. So I was just like, I may as well just, yeah. And then watching just some clips of him, both in interviews and also from a couple different films. And just seeing kind of the way that he spoke and stuff, it seemed like something that was kind of a natural fit for me. And so, yeah, so that for me, I was like, I just jumped at the chance.
Yeah, good for you. Did the cast know each other at all before you ended up casting them? So let's talk about how they're getting along and how the interaction is. How's that working? Because you guys are close now.
Yes, we are.
Very close now.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. How's that all working out?
Great. I mean, yeah, we obviously, especially now that we're on the set, we're in some very tight quarters for the entirety of the
I love
show.
theater. Dang it.
So you can imagine, we don't really have much of a choice but to get to know each other pretty well. And I think it's also, on some level, maybe in kind of a meta level, played into some of the relationships, both that we have as characters in the show and also outside of it, where I'm like, I find myself before the shows just kind of following Dan, who's playing Roy Scheider, around, and I'm just like buddying up to him. And it's, I don't know. I mean, both of them, both Jeff and Dan, are just so great to work with, and such great personalities and people that are just really comfortable for me to be around, that it's made it so easy, I think, for all of us to just gel together. And get along and just find those, interesting quirks and ways to work with each other and work off of each other. And it's just created a great environment. What your background
is in theater? What else have you done?
So last year I was in The Legend of Georgia McBride at the Players Ring in Portsmouth.
Love the Players Ring.
Yeah.
I'm going out there this Sunday.
Another intimate setting for a theater, which honestly that's my preference. I really like those smaller theaters where you can really,
you and me both.
You feel like you're interacting directly with the audience. Really, it's like the audience is sitting right there. I love attending shows in that style of theater and also being in shows. And that was actually the first thing that I had done in probably 7 or 8 years.
Really?
Since college. Yeah. So I did a few shows at UNH. I wasn't a major, but I was lucky enough to have some opportunities to perform in a few different shows. And after that, I figured I would take a break for a couple of years and just kind of focus on, starting a career. And then a couple of years just became longer. And
tell me about that.
I always had it in the back of my mind, like I want to get back into it. Yeah, right. Yeah, so it was always there for me. Like I still want to do acting. I want to get back into it. And then luckily I was able to last year, and then it's just kind of been, scratching at me. And I was just waiting I was waiting for the right opportunity to come along. I'm not really a musical person. That's just not my bag. But when I saw this one pop up, it was like, this checks all of the boxes of what I truly love to do in theater. And
this is a great comeback show for you. Oh, my God. To step into that.
Yeah.
Todd, tell me about the Shaw character. Because everyone, they're going to be listening. They are, for that accent. Did you have a lot of discussion about that? Is Jeff? That's who played
Jeff Ripley.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, in the audition notice, I specified actually each character what their regional dialect was, so that every actor who came in would at least know what was going to be expected of them, if not necessarily at the audition, but at least during the rehearsal of the show and ultimately what was on stage. So Shaw was 2 different accents. It was his UK accent. And I was very specific in the audition.
And then his alcoholic drunk accent.
And then the Quint accent, which was Robert Shaw's version of a New England accent, which is very interesting. And Jeff, he when he came into the audition, he's got just such a stature, which translated well. He in many ways he towers over both Aaron and Dan. I needed a very strong physical and voice presence on stage. And Jeff, he's just handled both accents perfectly. Like I won't, no spoilers, but there is a moment in the show that people who have seen Jaws many times will recognize as being a quintessential scene, no pun intended for Quint.
Right.
And that was one of the scenes that, like, in my head before we started rehearsing it, was like, are we going to get this right? We have to get this right.
Sure.
And Jeff, I mean, who is a huge Jaws fan, he had his own Quint jacket, actually, that he brought to the whole production. He just nailed that scene from get-go. And I was like, okay, we can focus on other scenes because you've got this scene down. And every single time I watch him do it, and in the script, there is a requirement to bring the John Williams music in. I get goosebumps. I'm just like, I can't believe that Jeff nailed this quintessential scene that people love so much. And you also get because Ian Shaw was the co-author or the co-playwright, you really do get a sense of different facets of the man. You do see his alcoholism, but you see also how he reacts to Dreyfuss, how he reacts to Scheider. He's just such a force that the entire play kind of revolves around in a lot of ways.
Sure.
Just because, it was 5 years before he passed, unfortunately. And so it's got that feel to it. Kind of a last hurrah.
Telling you, we're not going to get it all in. I know it. You are listening to NH Unscripted. We are coming to you from the Gong Show-like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord, baby. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM on your transistor radios. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. We're talking about Jaws in a little bit different way. We'll be right back. Welcome back to NH Unscripted, you lucky listener. We're coming to you from the Hollywood Square-like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. Yeah, I love sitting in that center square. Yes, I do. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM on your Sony Walkmans in Concord, 101.9 FM for the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful souls in Manchester. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. We are talking with the folks from the New Hampshire Theater Project about their upcoming production, The Shark is Broken. The Shark is Broken. Todd, before we go too far, most of us who have seen the movie did not know the story about this shark being broken. So it like hits the scene, and it's like this, like it's like this little secret thing that's going on. Why did you want to do this? Because in a way, it kind of. It doesn't destroy the myth or whatever, but it does give us some insight. You ever hear that phrase, you never want to meet your hero? So there's that kind of that element to it where now we're about to see three literal iconic characters. And I believe it lit Dreyfuss. It was like his jumping off point after this that he just took off from there. Shaw was already hot to trot. And I believe Scheider was right. He was humming along, and this really that character of Brody just catapulted him. So why this? And did you have any hesitation about at all bringing this to the stage?
No, I mean I've been a fan of Jaws since I was a child. I mean it was something my father introduced me to. I believe it is the sort of movie that seems to have this sort of father to son passed down sort of thing. It's become a generational thing. We had a lot of conversations about our dads and the introductions of it to us. And no, I what brought me to it was just honestly how relatable all three characters are. I mean, they've got their darkness, but they've also got their light. I really liked the idea of being able to show three professionals that would have really are very different from each other.
Yes.
And at times it's questionable if they even like each other.
Yes.
But they're forced into this very claustrophobic situation, and the sea is constantly present. It does its own thing. And they all have to work together to achieve this common goal. And that overall theme made me interested. When people have to work together even though they don't like each other. They're forced to have to do this with each other, but they also can discover parts about themselves and be vulnerable with each other in ways that they didn't expect it to be. I found it inspiring on multiple levels.
Yeah. I had read, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they had already been shooting for like 8 weeks, and then they show up and the shark's broken.
Yeah, and this show shows the last 2 months of them having to work on this, which is, and I mean, they just need this movie to end. They're losing their minds. And rightfully so. They're trapped, and they're dealing with weather. They're dealing with issues. Somebody asked me, they're like, well, what do you think the title, The Shark is Broken means? And I'm like, honestly, I think if the shark wasn't broken, they wouldn't have had to rally together the way that they did with their
you think that was a huge point for them
yes.
in the movie?
Yeah, they were forced to have to get creative and to rely on each other to achieve the level of excellence that the movie shows, and it shows a lot of innovation. If the shark never broke, we would not have the same movie.
Dude, that's a brilliant point. Because certain things that happen in life do transform us, and had they not happened, things would be totally different. There's all these stories about alternate universes. We won't get into some of that garbage, but. Yeah, that's a very good point, that here they are sitting for like weeks, right? Mm-hmm. Weeks together. And they're...
Whole days would pass and they couldn't do anything. So they're playing games, they're reading, they're
some are
sleeping,
drinking.
They're drinking heavily, doing various drugs, just coping best that they can. So, yeah, and I feel like people can really identify that even if they're not a fan of Jaws. Everybody has a shark that's broken in their life that they've had to work around and get innovative and creative.
Absolutely. What was the biggest obstacle here for your show? Was it the set? Was it the dialogue? Was it the time frame? When you...
we were supposed to do it earlier this summer, and it just didn't work out for a variety of reasons. So we got pushed we decided to do it in October and open at the season at New Hampshire Theatre Project. And ever since we decided on the time frame, the audition, I got the crew together early. There's really been no obstacles. It's really, everyone knew what they had to do. We prepared very early in advance, a good 2 months before we even had our first rehearsal, because I knew that we had to plan as much as possible so that we would be ready for any obstacles that did get thrown at us, any sharks that did get broken. Mm-hmm. So honestly, because everybody was so prepared, we really didn't come across any obstacles that I could remember. We just worked hard.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say that there was any really significant thing we had to overcome. I think something that we've had to get used to as actors is probably just building up the stamina for the show over time and getting used to doing
Flesh that out a little.
Just getting used to doing it kind of day after day. It's 90 minutes, well, give or take, maybe a little bit over that.
Hour 45.
Yeah, hour 45.
No intermission.
No intermission.
Woo!
Yeah.
Right.
And it is, there's a lot of dialogue and there's a lot of physicality in it between the three of us. And so I think for us, it was just really getting used to putting on that performance day after day and keeping up that same level of energy and that kind of heightened, sense of tension that comes with just being closed in on this little boat for an hour and 45 minutes. But I wouldn't say that was an obstacle for us so much as something that we just had to get used to and that kind of evolved over time.
You had mentioned earlier, you started to talk a little bit about the set. And that you were really happy to finally get, and we all are we all love to finally the day comes when we get the set. It's a big deal. This particular one,
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I do feel like I don't know. I've done a bunch of shows where that set sort of like slowly comes together, right? And what was really cool about this one was like we get there first day of Tech Week and boom, there it is. It's like we're on the boat, and it really did. It just added so much to the experience that I was having on stage, going scene to scene. It was like we already had a lot of good stuff going on, but things really popped and came to life once we were able to sit on this boat, because it was so much like the real thing and just so realistic. And it created this new kind of claustrophobia that I don't think we could fully capture without the set. And it really did, for me, just give me so much more to work with, and it was really exciting.
Will the audience feel that claustrophobia? I imagine it has to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the set designer, Quentin Stockwell, he's also the lighting designer. I wanted the set designer and the lighting designer to be the same person. And Quentin and I have worked on multiple shows together. He's an extraordinary artist. And he was one of the first two people that, along with our stage manager, Jess Giroux, they were the first two people that I needed locked down for this, because I needed somebody that was going to be able to run this show like a well-oiled machine, and I needed a really great set. And I didn't even show. Quentin would send me pictures of the set as he was creating it, and I wouldn't even share it with the actors. They had to come in and experience it fresh. And Quentin, he said to me, he was like, "This is the most realistic set I have created in a very long time."
Yeah, is this based off photos from the real shoot?
To scale.
Yeah, what?
To scale. So when you sit in the theater and you're this close to the cabin of the Orca, this is the dimensions. I think just slightly bigger, just to allow it to be open a bit. Mm-hmm. But I mean, think of it this way: it's slightly bigger, and it's already really small. So you really do get a sense with the actors and the characters of how claustrophobic this was.
Oh, God.
And there's constantly a background of the sea noise, except for 3 scenes.
Yeah.
So it's a constant presence, this constant unstable world that they're having to deal with. And you do start to see them just lose their minds.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You had mentioned, Todd, something about photography.
Peter Vandermark was a photographer around 74 when they were filming this. He's a New England photographer, and he was able to take behind-the-scenes photos that we're going to have on display in the lobby for the entire run of the show, and these were never seen before until this year. They were published earlier this year in Yankee Magazine and I believe Boston University Magazine. So these never-before-seen behind-the-scene photos, and he's got shots of Scheider, Shaw, Dreyfuss, everybody, Spielberg. It's really a stunning display. So we're going to have that the entire run of the show.
Did you have to get special permission to show them, or was it required?
Peter reached out to us and said, "We're coming to see the show, and I'd love to bring these photos." So he did it for us.
All right.
Yeah.
Hang on, 1 block to go. I'm telling you, it's crazy. You are listening to NH Unscripted. Yeah, we are coming to you from the Car 54 light digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. Yep. I know. You're happy to be alive. Me too. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM on your Sony Walkmans, baby. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. We're talking about Jaws. I know you can hear that sound in the back of your head. I know. We'll be right back. Welcome back to NH Unscripted. Yeah, there's no sounds of silence here. I am your Simon and Garfunkel-like host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the dating game-like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM on your transistor radios. 101.9 FM for the beautiful souls of Manchester. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. You know what goes on out there. There is a lot. So you get up 2 or 3 in the morning having your warm milk and cookies and you need a friend, head on out to NHTalkRadio.com. There's everything is archived out there. Yeah, this show, plus they tell me there's other great shows here too. I don't know. Who the heck knows? NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. We are talking about The Shark is Broken. It's taking place out in Portsmouth. It's being performed by the folks from the New Hampshire Theater Project. Todd, why don't you give us the URL one more time and the dates again?
Off the top of my head, I believe it's nhtheater.org. It's the New Hampshire Theater Project website. The show's running from October 17th through November 2nd, Friday, Saturday, Sundays. And you can go right on the website and buy the tickets. Okay. It is a small house, so the more the longer we get into the run, I think the more we're going to be selling out because the pre-sales are very good.
Yeah. Did you feel that you had to do much research to put this on as a team? You know, did you sit down and say, okay, we got to go out and we're going to go wiki page this thing, or
I think we all were doing our own research. I mean, we were all fans of the film, and of course, the story of the making of it is so it's classic.
Yeah.
But when I came into it, I love research.
Mm-hmm.
One of our actors, the one who's playing Roy Scheider, Dan Kelly, he has such an attention to detail that I just let him run wild. At times, he was like, "I'd like to go just get this for myself," and he got exact replicas of wristwatches.
What?
And yeah,
what?
The shoes, the eyeglasses,
Come on.
the clothes. Our costume and makeup designer, who's brilliant, Kitty Prue. She was like, "Wow, he's already doing so much. I just have to add a few items to it." But that's just an example of everybody. I mean, everybody they went off and did their research. I gave recommendations of things to do. We have an exact replica of the New York Times when Nixon resigned and Ford took over. That you see Roy Scheider reading at the very beginning because he has a reference to it. Everybody just really focused on making it as authentic as we possibly could that our budget would allow and time. But I think we did an excellent job overall.
Man, oh man. The New Hampshire Theater Project, for folks who aren't very familiar with it, because I know we're in Concord, you're out in Portsmouth or whatever. Tell us a little bit. There's a lot you folks are doing out there. I was surprised.
Yeah, New Hampshire Theater Project has been there in this space for decades, and we just extended our time in the space because it's getting more difficult to be able to maintain arts organizations without heavy donors and that sort of thing. But the team at New Hampshire Theater Project, worked with the owner of that building, and they've been able to extend it another couple of years. So once they were able to confirm that, they said, Sharon said, let's do The Shark is Broken. And the thing is with the New Hampshire Theater Project is that it's really focused on community and education. We have 3 main stage shows coming up, all of which are listed on the 3 or 4 main stage shows, I can't remember, that are listed on the website. So definitely check out to see what else is coming up. But they also have special one-offs, conversations. They have conversations about difficult subjects. It's so community-based and so dedicated to education that it just seemed like a perfect place to be able to bring The Shark is Broken. And I feel really privileged to be able to be a part of that group.
Yeah, good for you. I went out there and I just took some notes. You have this tab out there for Elephant in the Room series, which was remarkable to me about what goes on with that.
Yeah.
I was stunned. I mean, I really appreciated all that, and it really was a lot of topics that are elephant in the room kind of things.
Yeah.
Anyway, so are you all tired yet of people quoting classic lines to you, like you got to get a bigger boat and all that stuff, and Have you fed up with that yet?
That line is actually in the show.
It
at one
is?
point. Yeah, it's kind of a joke line.
A little homage.
Homage. There's a lot of homages.
Oh, that's good.
Even misquoted in the show.
Even misquoted.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yeah. No, we're
You're gonna break my heart.
I don't know. Purposely, it's supposed to be misquoted as the joke. Right. But no, I mean, I think we've all just been. It's funny because it's the sort of show that, as much as it's claustrophobic, I think we've all been in our own little bubble for a while. Mostly I've just had people just be like, so when's the show opening and that kind of stuff. We've just been all in our own, we've all been in our own orca at the theater, focused on this. So no, I'm not sick of it at all. I'm really excited for audiences to see it, I got to say. I mean, I've directed a lot of shows over the course of my career, and it's unbelievable that a show that's got these many moving parts that could go wrong. I'm just so excited for this opening. I really want the audience to be able to have a good time and experience this, and it's a good feeling.
As a team building thing? Did y'all like go out to a bar somewhere and fire up the movie and have a few brew and talk? No, come on.
No, in fact, Dan keeps trying to get you guys together.
Yeah, we
doesn't he?
should. We should. We need to. We will. It's. I feel like we've been talking about that so much this week, and it's just not. It's like now. It's like, all right. Well, when are we going to do that? You know, like we're at the theater all the time, but we're definitely going to carve out some time for it soon here, because I feel like we've really built up so much of that camaraderie anyway.
Yes.
It would be nice to take that out of the space and kind of just, build on that on a personal level.
Yeah. Todd, you and I have a friend in common, Kevin Collins.
Mm-hmm.
When Kevin and I were doing theater back in the day, many years ago, we used to do that. So when all the cast would go away, the end of the rehearsal, we'd dim all the lights on the stage, and then he and I and another friend of ours, Joe Sanchez, we would go get some beer, and we'd come back, and we would live on the stage for the next few hours and just talk. It built a huge camaraderie amongst us, and we got a huge feeling for the set because we were living on it in these other hours. And it's important, right? You're going to be on it for hours, well, in their case, weeks for the show, right? And so it becomes its own character in a way. I'm guessing this set would be, too. It's its own character piece. Have you all had a chance to, like, really feel like you're home now? At some point, did you say, I think we're ready. I think we could put this on.
Yeah, I absolutely. I mean,
I know you are ready.
Yeah.
You don't have much choice.
Right. No, but really, I actually do feel very well prepared for this, honestly. Like, I would say even more than usual, which is a credit to Todd, I think, and really our entire crew for just being able to set up everything around us, in such a way and so organized that we're able to really just focus on what we're doing, and refining what we're working on.
Is it exhausting for you?
It has been at times for sure. And like I said, I think that's an important thing for us, is building up that stamina. And I think now we've reached a point where, like, I'm pretty comfortable with that, and I feel like it still is a lot of energy, but I've gotten very used to how much it is. And to your point on spending time on a set, I think that was really a big thing for me. Is like the first time I saw it, I was so excited. I just wanted to sit in it. It's like I just want to sit down and just like be in it and just like try out all the different ways that I can sit and lie down and like mess around with, and like play on the table in front of us.
It's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have had a good amount of time, the three of us, myself, Dan, and Jeff, to be able to just like sit there around this table.
Good.
While other things are being worked out during Tech Week, and just palling around together.
It's funny. Most theater companies don't care about that. They just, you'll get the set like show week, or dress rehearsal. Shame on them, because it's important. You want people to, when the audience comes in, they want to believe that you walk that set, that you live in that house, you've been on that boat for weeks, And if you get it the day before you're going to open or whatever, that shame on them. Anyway, that's my rant for the day. Todd, I hate to say it one more time, but can you give us the URL, because we're going to run out of time?
Again, off the top of my head, I think it's nhtheater.org. It is the New Hampshire Theater Project website, and it's very user-friendly. You just can go there and buy your tickets like right online. And again, it's a small house. It's 42 seats, and I'm expecting as we go further into the run, we're going to start having sellouts if the pre-sales are any indication.
Yeah.
So definitely get your tickets as early as you can.
Oh, seriously? Oh, man. I told you. Every single time. All right. Gotta put a button on it right there. You've been listening to NH Unscripted. I know you're smiling ear to ear. We are coming to you from the YMCA like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. I could smell the pool chlorine from here. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM on your Sony Walkmans, 101.9 FM for the beautiful souls in Manchester. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. The Shark is Broken, happening where?
New Hampshire Theater Project, October 17th to November 2nd.
Yes, sir. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.